There's a really interesting dynamic in the government at the moment. You've got on one end Shane Jones basically calling the electricity companies pirates, and on the other end, I will play a clip for you to show this. You've got Christopher Luxon kind of going, well, they need to make more money so they can invest more into the, providing us better electricity. And these are the people who are in cabinet making decisions, seem to be at opposite ends from each other with their messaging. So let's have a look at the story first of all, and then we'll come back and have a chat about it.
The pointy end of the power pinch through Ruapehu's Winstone pulp and timber mills halted production earlier this month, hundreds of jobs on the line, citing high electricity prices.
What you're seeing industrial organisations, actually going to the wall, and that is incredibly worrying.
There's also the shell game going on in this conversation, Chewy, because quite a lot, and you hear Luxon talking about it this morning, they're talking about this isn't really impacting the residential consumer so much at the moment, it's impacting the businesses more. But then at another time, they talk about needing to do all these things to help out the residential customer. It's a little bit of we'll say that they have to make profits to help the residential situation, but it doesn't really impact the residential situation. So it's one of these moments where they pick who they want to either blame or focus on, depending on what the particular narrative within this conversation is. So it's fascinating to watch these guys talk out both sides of their mouths.
So, there's no doubt about it. We have an energy security crisis.
A crisis that required government...
Another crisis?
Yeah, another one.
A country like New Zealand, with abundant natural resources, shouldn't be in this position.
The immediate levers to pull down the price have pretty much all been pulled. Rationing from major users Methanex and Tiwai Smelter, allowing power companies to draw on contingent water sources. The next steps lie in building a more secure network with imported gas.
We need gas. There's no doubt about it. And if we can't find it domestically, we will import it.
To do so, we need new infrastructure, the government paving the way for that to happen by winter 2026.
We will remove all regulatory barriers so we can have that in place as quickly as possible.
Rambunctious Regional Development Minister Shane Jones has for weeks been firing verbal missiles at the power companies, aka gentailers, which both generate and sell power, for their profits, even saying they were profiteering.
We're at a time when New Zealanders and regional New Zealand are being sent to the scrap heap. We've got these corporate grandees celebrating dividends in the parlour and boasting how rich they are.
See, he's talking about residential retailers, right? So he's trying to pontificate and big note saying that they're here for the little man, but the government's also telling us it's not really impacting the little man, it's impacting businesses. That's what I'm saying. That's depending on what narrative they want to push out there. They're either saying, retailers, you guys are safe, it's about business, or retailers, we're doing this for you because it's costing so much. It's just such a mixed messaging coming out from this ninth floor of the beehive.
Today, a review of those companies announced, though with no detail. That'll come in the next fortnight.
We have an energy shortage and we have some of the highest prices in the world, and I think New Zealanders expect the government to make sure that the regulations are keeping pace.
Also on the firing line, Labour's oil and gas exploration ban.
And as good as it may have sounded on a bumper sticker or to climate activists and productive.
Labour held a Just Transitions conference today, aiming to chart a path away from fossil fuels, and offered an olive leaf to the government on energy.
I do think we need more stability when it comes to the debate about energy security. We're particularly interested in working with the current government, if they are willing to work with us, and shared approaches to things like storage and dry year solutions.
It came with a but.
But we do have some bottom lines. Restarting oil and gas exploration will take us backwards as a country. That's not something that we would agree to.
Voting against the repeal of oil and gas exploration would mean voting against hardworking New Zealanders. Voting against hardworking New Zealanders.
Those same hardworking New Zealanders who get up and go to work every day just so people can sit around on a benefit. Those same hardworking New Zealanders, There's also a really interesting thing they're doing, Chewy. They're using the term Indigenous gas, and it's such a PR spin use of word. Because, Indigenous means kind of green, and Indigenous means sort of, we support Indigenous rights. And so I think it's a very purposeful use of the word Indigenous gas sources or Indigenous energy sources. I think it's it's pretty revolting, actually.
Because it is ultimately them that actually particularly on outcomes who bear the brunt of energy insecurity driving higher electricity prices.
So again, he's saying that's about the retailer, the mums and dads, but that's not what they're telling us. On the other hand, they're saying the ones who are impacted are the businesses.
I want my kids, my grandkids and great-grandkids to find that the legacy that we leave them is one of a planet that we can no longer live on.
A vote for the repeal of its gas ban sounding unlikely from Labor.
So that's the first part of the conversation. I'll go straight into the second part too, because we want to hear Luxon this morning. I played a game this morning. I thought I might get a little bell, a little ding, 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 ding for us to use here. I haven't done it for tonight because I started watching this morning. And you okay there? Or are you frozen? If you're frozen, that is a spectacular freeze. Can everyone else see that frozen? That is a no, you're frozen on my end. You look adorable and you're frozen. You're like this. And you're frozen.
Oh, because I'm about to pop.
It was fantastic. Oh, okay. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, I played a game this morning. And before he started talking on breakfast, I went, I wonder how long it'll take for him to blame Labor. 50 seconds. Labor, da, da, da. And I want to get a ding, 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 ding. And then every time he does it from now on when we're playing stuff, we'll have ding, 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 ding in the background. But this is just 50 seconds, I think, or 60 seconds. Because this is just him being kind of challenged on the high cost, high prices, what they're doing about it by Daniel Faitaua. Have a listen. I should bring the picture up as well, shouldn't I? We'll do that.
Mercury doubled its profits last week. When are you going to get tough on these big companies?
Well, I want to be really clear. The issue here is supply, supply, supply. When you go in the oil and gas ban, as the last government did, you don't have companies exploring for gas here in New Zealand. And in fact, it's gone down from something like 88,000 kilometres down to 6,000 kilometres of exploration. And when you end the oil and gas ban, big companies say, why would I invest in New Zealand? There's 195 other countries. I'll go somewhere else, thank you. So we've got a major problem.
If I can just jump in, these companies are making huge profits. They can reduce their prices. Well, so again, I ask you, what will you do to come hard on these big companies?
Well, we have...
Just for future reference, don't ever say to this Prime Minister how he comes hard. It's just not the appropriate use of language. I don't ever want to hear that again.
Have an electricity market review happening, which Simeon Brown is kicking off, and we'll look into that and we'll monitor that. But I just say to you, you also need those companies to be profitable because they have to go make big investments and actually new renewable energy facilities and production facilities in order to be able to make sure that we double the amount of renewables we're going to get in the next few years, as well as we have to work really hard to find a new supply of gas and make sure that...
So that's what...
No, we don't.
So you can hear him saying that they need the profits, they need the profits, they need the profits. Shane Jones is calling them pirates. And in between they're going, it's about the consumer, like the mums and dads, retail. Oh no, it's about business. When it's a problem with the business, it's about the retailers. When they want to sound good, are we doing it for the consumers? It's just such mixed messaging, all wrapped up in a cancellation of a policy that I think most New Zealanders found policy legislation pretty appealing.
This is where I swoop in and say, one of the first things that National did was cancel the pumped hydro program that Labor were working on. That would be basically custom made for exactly this fucking situation, to have a massive lake essential battery to tide us over for these sort of events. Shit canned by National. One of the first things that they did. With absolutely nothing else considered. Now we're in an energy crisis, and you have this absolute mishmash of reactions. As you said, Shane Jones wants to return to the bad old days of 1970s state central control of everything. He just wants to swoop in and tell the energy companies to knock it off. And part of me goes, yes. And then I actually listen to him. It's not for the consumer. It is for big business. It is for the pulp and paper mills. It is for the aluminium smelters. It's for all of those big consumers of energy, so their profits can stay fat. That's all that Shane Jones cares about. He doesn't care about you running your heat pump.
Yeah.
And the only reaction to this crisis is in absolute lockstep. Simeon Brown, Bishop, Luxon, we need to ram through gas exploration. Cool. Costs hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to go out there and look for that exploration. The UN has said, by the time we find any, we won't be able to use it.
Yeah.
At no point has this government looked at the 33 unused consents. So these are projects that the gentailers have consents for more renewables, for wind farms. They've had them for years and have done nothing. And this comes back to the core of it, right? These companies have been profitable. They've been able to pay out dividends to their shareholders as they have to, but they have not reinvested any of those profits. They haven't been going, well, we should use these consents and build a fuck off big wind turbine farm because we've got the go ahead to do it.
Yep.
We've got the resource consent. It's all good to go. We just need to pull finger and do it. No. So that hasn't been brought up at all. Nobody's mentioned it. Chloe Schwarbrick mentioned it.
There's another element of this as well, and Free Soul reminds me of this, is the government, and there's lots of people talking about the government selling off, John Key selling off 49% of a bunch of these things, but that means the government still owns 51%. That means this government, when there's record profits for the companies, that means the government is making a shit ton of money off them. And also remember, this government needs to make a shit ton of money for all the promises they've made around tax cuts and landlord reimbursements. So on one hand, it's actually better for this government's coffers, the government being literally the parties and MPs and ministers who made these promises, just those guys and girls. It's better for them the more profit they make because they've got money in the bank to do these things they want to do, whilst also trying to say, yes, we need to get the profits down. We need to help the consumer at the end. And if we do, we won't have as much money for our tax cuts, but we'll do that anyway. So where is their priority going to be? It would be a challenging thing sitting up there going, are we going to turn down this $200 million? And just so, you know, Uncle and Aunt Bob can have an extra, you know, $8 a week off their power. I don't know. Maybe the $200 million would be better for the government for their choice of spend, Chewy.
The third option that they've got, which again has not been mentioned, is something that I have mentioned several times, is there is no conversation about microgeneration. There is no looking at Australia, and we always look at Australia to see how we can make our country better. There is no discussion like they've had over there of subsidizing solar panels and battery storage for individual homes. There's an absolute glut of Chinese-made solar panels in the world at the moment. They are going for next to nothing. And that would be a way, again, to make this country more resilient, lower people's power bills, and as they feed back into the grid, make that more resilient as well. This government is incapable of thinking of these things clearly.
Yeah.
It is just gas. Gas is the solution. Gas is the way out of it. Yeah, we're conscious that there's a climate crisis. Fuck it, though. We know it's there. We're not doing anything about it.